before that, what's your perspective on the whole Mushoku Tensei thing?
You talking about the part where he puts problematic things in the story?
Yeah, to the degrees and like how sometimes it's like completely unnecessary.
I don't think it's that complicated. I just think he's weird. Straight up.
W time. There we go.
No, not.
But the last thing I wanted to say, because I was on random show talking about it because I was crashing out a little bit. So lately we've seen like some reports in Japan, like people getting caught up in stuff. The Sabo voice actor, he got caught up with a fan, and then after with
what you mean by that?
Oh, the Sabo voice actor, I guess he's like in his 60s or something like that, and he was caught up with like a 17-year-old. And like I guess apparently he committed some type of crime, so that's a whole thing. And it's weird. The beginning after the end just finished like their war arc, and it's considered one of the best isekais. But of course, like when that happens, they compare it to other isekais. So people started like on Twitter and TikTok, whatever, they started trashing Mushoku Tensei. And I learned
anyway.
Yeah, so I learned some stuff about Mushoku Tensei that Random eventually went into, and what I wanted to say is because people hate Mushoku Tensei for justifiable reasons, but
it's trash.
Yeah, but that's the problem with J-Rob, because the story itself objectively is not trash except for one aspect. So the aspect is Rudius and like a lot of the pervy stuff. But when you look at world building, when you look at
Rudius got a weird case, bro. He got a weird case.
No, I'm gonna get to Rudius. So when you get to world building, when you get to power system, when you get to side characters, when you get to storylines and like how they deal with trauma, stuff like that, all of it clears the board. But it's just that one caveat where it's like, yo, why are you doing the most? And that's usually through Rudius, and it's usually because of the author. And like what I basically explained to Random was like, yo, imagine like we all know everything that R. Kelly did, and like how R. Kelly has like some of the great.
Imagine your favorite character getting compared to R. Kelly. Wow.
I'm gonna get there. So imagine like some of R. Kelly's biggest hits, but like let's just say like a few of the verses.
I'm done, Random. I'm done. I'm trolling now.
Yeah, imagine like if R. Kelly like some of his biggest hits, like some of his verses have like some of this. He's talking about some of the stuff that he's locked up for. That ruins the song. That ruins the product. And like that's my problem with Mushoku Tensei. It's like, yo, you have this great product, but then you ruin it with all this Rudy's pervy bullshit. Like you ruin, like there's so many different ways. So like you can not even like the way that he ruins the story with the perv shit is like it's almost. I feel like it's like a literature crime. It really is, because I can never recommend Jobless Reincarnation to anybody because of all the shit that he puts in it. All the great storylines, the way that they handle trauma and everything is beautifully written. But then right after all that beautiful writing, there's some weird ass pervy shit. For what? So it's like,
Lonnie, do you want
look what
Danielle
just said. Lonnie, look what Danielle just said. What was we just talking about yesterday, bro?
Your most said, oh yeah, me and J Rock got some stuff cooking for that. We got some stuff cooking for that.
The toxic voice is coming together.
But Ty's an artist, maybe he can go into it. I feel that like when people create art, they draw it from places of themselves. So when I see like this guy doing great world building, great story stuff, and then he's just doing random ass pervy shit, that's from him. That's also from his mind. That's also like from his expression.
Can you name the recent thing that he tried to do? You know, so we have all the information on the table. You know what I'm saying?
I got
information is very important, right? So can you tell us the recent thing he tried to do?
This is so he's rewriting it right now because the fans literally. He said he didn't like it, but a lot of fans also really came at him. So one of his sisters ends up getting with one of his kids, and I fucking can't support that, and I can't support that at all.
Miles, I need your face on screen. Miles, I need that
because you know I'm making a face. The face is gone.
Yeah, but so why do that? Why do that? Like, why put that in your story? Unless that's stuff that you like and that's stuff that you connect with, why would you put that in your story? For what?
Lani, I completely agree. Lani, by the way, this whole conversation we're having is going to come out tomorrow. we damn near talked about it for 35 minutes, and this is one of the main reasons why, even though I'm a fan, and let the record state that I did not bring up Mushoku Tensei this time. Lani did, right? But
Facts.
there are and we even talked about when we did that little thinking exercise. The story of Rudius is great. It really is. The problem is when you want to make, and Ty, maybe since you're writing this, when you want to make a character go through trauma, there is possibly a line you shouldn't cross. Now, there's a lot of misinformation about Rudius, but the author caused that misinformation to happen. People call him a P word. Is he technically, if you want to go by the letter of the law? No, but he is. Hold on. This is what I'm saying. If you want to go by the letter of the law, he technically isn't, but we know he is because we've seen his actions. He was never called, but we've seen his actions. But then after that, when Ty had to battle the miscommunication about when Sophie and him almost took a bath together, when people said that he was trying to groom Sophie, when none of that happened. Like, as a fan of this show, I am tired of defending it like this, because there's no reason for you to do as many dumb things, or as many, I call it anime bullshit, y'all call it whatever you want, to harm your story this well. I don't, like Lani, I don't recommend it anymore. If somebody wants to talk about it, and I always fight back against the misinformation. But when you do that, and I read the chapter, and I read the part where I said it, because I'm obviously I want to support. But when I saw that, I threw the damn book away. Because how can I recommend this? This is a side story, especially in a slice of life kind of side story. And then you add this thing, and it not only ruins both characters. It's like, how are you gonna you want this to be successful? How are you gonna put this up in the West, where you know that's different, and think that that's gonna sell? I said it before.
It's not that's like, because some things are just completely unnecessary. Like the way he gets kicked out the house random. If he was just playing video games or watching TV, he goes through the same exact action. The way he gets kicked out, and then isekai, he goes, but no, he's doing what he's doing. When he has when he has like a altar for Roxy or whatever, it could literally just be like a doll. Why is it her panties? Like, it's like so many different things. It's like, why is this necessary for the story when there's clearly just a basic option? Like, it doesn't make sense to like write. It's just frustrating as like a reader, and like as someone that like critiques manga and anime, where it's like, oh, you have like great storytelling, you have great side characters, you have great stories, and like how to deal with trauma, like the journeys of all that. Like, there was in season 2, when he deals with his sister's trauma of getting, and he's thinking that she's getting bullied, and like they're like the parallels of everything he's going to. That was one of the most beautifully written things I've seen in like the past 2-3 years. But then next chapter, he's doing perfect shit. So it's like, yo, what the hell? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's like, to me, it's like a lyrical. It's I don't know. I don't have words for it.
So
it's just bullshit. It's bullshit
Santo,
to me.
to try to answer your question, we've seen that plenty of times where authors try to push the line. What Game of Thrones?
But this is different. You can tell the energy with this is different. He's not pushing. This is something that this brings the author joy and stuff. If he gets rated, we all know what they're probably going to find.
And where I go is the author's second story, which is basically I haven't read the story, but I just read the synopsis. It's a fantasy world where humans are fighting orcs, and a human princess is captured by the orcs, and he doesn't show it. But Riddell, I'm never gonna read that story. Nigga, you can write.
What is with this dude, bro?
That's what I'm saying. Like, the dude can legitimately write, but he goes out of his way to sabotage himself all the time. And Lani, if that day ever happens where he gets rated and he gets fine stuff, I'm legitimately gonna have to throw Mushoku Tensei away and come on here and apologize for how much I've talked about it. Like,
honest question, random. Like, what percentage, like on a scale like 1 to 10, what percentage do you think that they would find something? Like, how confident are you that they would find something bad?
I'm gonna be. I don't look.
It's give me a number.
No,
give me a number.
What's going on, gang?
I'm at an 8. I'm at an 8.
Look, my only thing is, look, I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna be quiet. When it comes to that stuff, there's just a line, and maybe Ty can answer that question because he's literally writing a manga. There's just a line you shouldn't cross, and maybe you can cross it once. I don't know. I don't know how people love Game of Thrones, even though, you know, two of the characters do another thing. But he repeatedly crosses over that line. And it shows how great of he is, in my opinion, that he is as a writer, that he keeps bringing me back every time he crosses that line because he's just that good. But even when I'm going through volume 12 and I'm like, bruh, just give me a fucking break and write the story. I
Yeah,
have
so if
that
you guys
book
want a good
to-
isekai to read, the beginning after then, because it doesn't have any of that shit, but it's
And
This is good.
Slime. Tune in. Season 4 has been cooking.
It's season 3 right now. Season 3.
I'm-
Ken 3000, 3005. A good slice of life. Rascal does not dream of bunny girl senpai. You can never go wrong with that. Kaguya-sama is great. I'm always gonna big up Toradora. There's plenty, but start with those 3: Kaguya-sama, Toradora, and Rascal does not dream
Love
of
is
bunny
War.
girl senpai.
Oh, but Santo had a question for Ty.
What's up?
What's your perspective? Oh, before that, what's your perspective on the whole Mushoku
you said-
Tensei thing?
You talking about the part where he puts problematic things in his story?
Yeah, and to the degrees and like like how sometimes it's like completely unnecessary.
There's
Oh,
some
I don't,
points.
I don't think it's that complicated. I just think he's weird. Straight up.
W Ty. There we go.
No. And I'm saying that because as someone that's writing a story, you put what you know. Here's the thing: you can put bad things in your story. So, for example, like if I write in my story somebody getting killed, doesn't mean I'm a murderer, right? That doesn't mean that. However, some of the stuff is if I was putting unnecessary death in my story, like Randy, my main kids walked down to stab somebody, and I just keep pretending the story going, you'd be like, okay, Ty's a little weird, right? If it just was so unnecessary. Now, obviously, like if Kishimoto writes someone getting killed, like I don't know, like a random like Jirai getting killed, doesn't mean that Kishimoto believes murder is good. But if Naruto woke up one day, stabbed somebody, kept walking like nothing happened, you'd be like, Kishimoto's a weirdo for that. So I think that when it comes to the unnecessary aspect of it, I just think the author is just weird. Like
That's
I'm gonna say this one last thing. And for me personally, it can be a turnoff. But I feel like if an author is weird, but they don't put in their story, I can separate the art from the artist. If you put it in your art, then I judge the art. But if you don't put that weird stuff in your art, I can look at the fact, for example, Oda supported the Kenshin author. I don't think Oda's a good person. I actually think Oda, I don't want to get too deep in this. He has some problematic character designs. I'll leave it at that. And I think that it's very, I as a person, I don't think Oda's a good guy. I don't. But I love One Piece, and I'm fine with that. I don't think that Oda being what I think he is impacts my enjoyment of One Piece. I still love One Piece.
I'm the same way, but
Oda's
I'm
called
not
himself an asshole. So
yeah, I'm the same way as Ty, but I'm not going to sit here and say I do not show that I do not find frustration sometimes when I'm reading the story. So I'm just like, God.
Yeah,
like,
and I think so. So for me, it depends on like the severity. Like if it's like so severe that it's like Jesus, almost every scene is like. I think and I also do think that the greater writer you are, the bit of the high. Like for example, Miura, crazy stuff in Berserk. He's such a great writer that your tolerance level is higher.
But that's the biggest thing is like when these tropes, when these deemed negative things are happening in these stories, do they happen for a reason is the biggest point out of all of it. Just because it's happening doesn't mean some like external thing regarding the artist. No, maybe this is happening to tell the bigger story. But when it comes to Mushoku Tensei, when you got some random girl, you know, doing some satisfactory actions on herself for no reason, I'm like, this doesn't push.
You making faces
forward.
you don't even know.
Wait, hold
This doesn't
Bro,
push
it
the
don't
narrative
matter, bro.
forward.
Listen, I do feel like, because honestly, I feel some of the ways with Berserk. Like, I know y'all love Berserk, but I do think in some ways, like, that trying to be edgy is cool, but I do think they take trying to be edgy to the extreme. Like, and I think we could admit that about some certain things.
I agree. I
like
think
sometimes trying to be edgy, you doing too much, and we could say that. Like,
I at the very least give
Rudy has got a weird case.
for what you said, J-Rob. I at the very least give credence if you're doing stuff that I think is too far, because I do like when I couldn't read Goblin Slayer because I'm like, that's just too much for me. But I see what you're trying to do. I at the very least give credence that this is what you're trying to do with your story versus just throwing just weird, nasty, creepy, unnecessary things just to do it without any story progression for it.
Right.
So I think if you do that, that's a problem.
And I
Yeah,
do
yeah,
think
yeah.
that Berserk has some of that unnecessariness to it, though. Some of it is unnecessary.
Come on,
Like,
it's a
not
little.
all
I
of it.
can't remember off the top of my head because
Like, I think it's a little too edgy.
I
at times.
think some
I'm
of
not
it
mad
is,
at
it
it
is
though.
unnecessary.
The horse. We can start with the horse.
It's not
first.
even just that. Like, think of it. I don't want us to get too explicit, but right, you remember that scene with Shirake where she was next to Guts,
Mhm.
and like that scene was just unnecessary. Like, it didn't. And I think that's because Mira was a weird man, straight up. He was just a weird dude. So, and I think that is not it. That the story would have been better without it. But again, your tolerance level is higher depending on how quality the story is.
Like, don't
If
get
it's
me wrong.
quality enough,
To an
My
extent.
bad. No, my
no,
bad.
I would say if it's quality enough, you could overlook because like again, I don't like some of the designs of One Piece. They're very some of them are like I think Oda's a brilliant artist, but some of the design for some certain characters is very
Yeah,
problematic.
I agree.
Very now. If I saw it too much, I couldn't read it, but it's not enough for me to drop it. So
As somebody who is currently reading the Dune series, I mean, either Frank Herbert was off the greatest shrooms, the greatest psychedelic and hallucinogen you could offer in terms of drugs, or his imagination is geeked out. So I definitely can understand where you come from about like the artist and the author of these stories.